The idea is that, listen, you start into this project, and if you're a guy like me, an average guy who doesn't know what the hell you're doing, it's going to change. It's going to change over time. Okay, so this is the donor table, and I got it for $55. It is actually a table that has one of those tops that's split and pulls out. We're going to remove that mechanism, of course, but brought it home on this little trailer. I had it tied down pretty well, and it survived the 40-mile trip. I just totally Lysoled the heck out of it. We're in the middle of the pandemic here. So anyway, so that's the donor table for the gaming table that we're going to do. Now, it's about 50, I think they said 53 inches. I think we're talking the top dimension, but on that middle slat there, we're going to probably try to, we're going to cut it, and I'm going to trim the top too. I actually may have a friend of mine who knows how to do wood stuff really well. So, I mean, $55, you know, just to get legs like that, the cheapest kind, you'd be looking at $55 for a set of really cheap ones, and I don't even know if you'd get them for 55 at that. When I found out that a top from 36 by 36 would cost $180 unfinished to do, that's when I decided you got to have a donor table, you got to have a top to work. And I have no idea how long this project will be, because I got so many projects going, but this one I want to try to expedite. And the main thing today is I've got to get it off the trailer because rain is coming within a little while. So I've got at least, I'm going to try to take it apart. If I can't do that, I'm at least going to stick it in the garage just to keep it out of the weather here. And like I said, just Lysol the crap out of this thing. I still got to Lysol the bottom though before I start working on that. So plus it was like total contactless pickup. Paid for it by PayPal. Went down to the person's house. They had it in the driveway. No one was there. I just go pick it up. It was great. Okay, so made in Malaysia. I can see now a lot more about this. This is going to be so easy. I think the top is going to come off. It's connected with those screws to those sliders, so that'll be easy. And then the legs, those are like your standard chamfered eggs, chamfered edge legs, chamfered eggs. I doubt that there's a tenon connection. I bet you the legs are just in there and that apron is loose. But that's okay. That's okay. We don't need anything. Again, Lysol the heck out of this bottom here and just letting it air dry with that. So, okay. These mechs could probably work somewhat different, but rather than taking the top off of, you know, like these rails here, I've realized that it's these cleats that are holding it in. So if I take that off, and if I take that off, and then pull that top up, then it's all coming out. So, all right, and it makes it easier, plus less parts to lose. I've also, by the way, gotten the legs off. They obviously are not, you know, there's no, you know, mortise and tenon sort of thing. It's just your standard thing. I pretty much knew that. But notice that I also labeled these because I want to keep them consistent. Not that it should matter, but just in case. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't because these are all off the shelf stuff, but what the heck, you know. Hey, and if I ever wanted to go to like a straight leg or a tapered leg without all the fancy stuff, which I actually don't like, I'll be able to do that with just replacement legs. So that's kind of cool. This is such an easy take apart, way easier than I thought it would be. I'm already down to undoing the last leg, but yeah, that's great. That's great because I really wanted to get it apart before the rain came. So this is the easy part, and I gotta say, those cleat things on the other table, they were just screwed in. They weren't even glued underneath, or if they were, it was just, no, I don't think they were, because I saw no residue. So a relatively cheap table in the first place. It was probably one of those like two $250 simply because it has that leaf mech in there, which is kind of cool, but we're not going to use anymore. Just going for a walk the day after picking up that table. And, you know, I don't think I'm going to cut the center of that apron because I can't really work just with that because it's not deep enough to put a table, an inner table inside of it and all that. So probably what's going to happen is I'm going to get some all new wood, and then I'm just going to form, you know, a new table around that. One of the thoughts I'm having on it anyway. We'll see. So it's a couple of days after Thanksgiving. I'm still thinking about the project. And what I've decided is that I'm definitely going to have different a different table apron. I'm not going to use the existing apron. I'll probably use the little angle pieces in the corner. And I'm going to use the same width of material, which is 7/8. But this is kind of the plans for it. Now, if you think about it, it's actually, this is how it's going to be in real life, although I marked it up in a different way there. But so like there where those little notches are on the ends are going to be the notches for the table legs. And so that's going to be put all together. And then when you look on this, there's a little notch out of one side of the longer length of that, and that we're going to put a 8-inch drawer in that. Anyway, that's kind of where we're looking at now. So we'll use the legs, we'll use the existing top, which we'll have to cut down because the one long dimension is now going to be shorter by about 11 inches or so. And these are going to be higher to accommodate for the insert table that we'll have in there. But it's coming together. And I found a really cool place that's going to do all the cutting and all that for me because as much as I would love to be able to do that, I'm just not a crafts person in that regard. Just got back from Home Depot with what I think is going to end up being the table insert. And I like this because the material can be really, it's thin enough that it can be cut with a utility knife, but I think it's going to be strong enough, especially once it's covered, to be able to, you know, support stuff. It's, you know, there's going to be a structure underneath it, so I think this will be good. It was only $11 with tax. Well, I'd kind of started thinking that, at first I thought, you know, I would do something with the apron or the carcass of this table here. But then I thought, no, you know, I'll just build a whole new frame, and maybe the only thing I'll do is I'll, you know, kind of use these angle things here and kind of keep the measurements sort of the same, but I need to reduce it and that. But now I started thinking, you know, maybe it might be easier to do that. So I'm going to try to cut here, here, and here, and cut this section out, and then see if, you know, maybe I can just, because you know what, I might as well do this because this one of the reasons I want to document is just kind of the evolution of how to think about how to do this table and not getting caught up in maybe just one thing. But anyway, let me try and make some of these cuts and see what happens. Okay, so what I've kind of done, that saw is like old and hard to get through the whole ends of this, but see, I'm using the these edge pieces here as kind of, let me see if I can just demonstrate a little bit. See, keeping the saw, you know, in line with that edge there. And so I've made cuts in all 4 areas here from the other side too. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and finish the cuts. And I should probably have something supporting this underneath. But anyway, going surprisingly quickly, like everything is with this. First side down, and then it doesn't matter if it's pretty because I can sand that down right there. But yeah, not that bad. I just had to unscrew a little thing that was holding those 2 beams, those 2 parts together, remove the leaf, and now there you go. That's the complete outside of the carcass. Now I've got to obviously
clean it up a little bit here, so that I can join those two together. But once I do that, I can start taking some measurements on the wood that I'm going to use to cover this. This is going to become the inner carcass of the table that's going to hold that insert board, and then there'll be, you know, boards around it and going up a little bit to complete the table. And it's going to be way easier because it's going to make it much easier to keep it all square. So it's a process of evolution here. What I've done actually is I've kind of put some leftover of that material in between these two areas to give a little bit more length, because I'd like a little bit more length here. And then what I've got is I've measured leg to leg. So I've got this measurement on one of the sides, and then on the longer side I've ended up with this measurement. So I think that's pretty good. The only thing left is I've got to measure what the overhang of that leg is from the top of the table. So I'll look at that next. But I think I may end up using the carcass like this, because at least this will give all my, look, see, I've got all my legs on it now, just, you know, to mock it up here and kind of see how this could work. So I think that's what I'll probably end up doing, but I don't know, I could change my mind tomorrow. All right, so these are the dimensions I've worked out. I've had to go to 1/2 inch thick poplar, and this is going to be wood that's going to be wrapped around the frame. So this is going to be the outer table that's going to wrap around the inner table. So these are the dimensions I've worked out, and I've reordered the wood, and hopefully it'll all fit. So anyway, just now in a holding pattern, kind of waiting for that wood. Got a call from Barn Door Lumber, which is doing the milling of the wood, and it's all ready. Only problem I got is it's about an hour away, so I might have to wait another day before I can get out there to get it, but it's getting ready. Okay, on my way to Barn Door Lumber in Hemlock, Michigan to pick up the actual lumber for this project. So it's getting closer.
Into the upper 40s tomorrow with more clouds. Could see some rain arriving later in the day, most likely to get here by tomorrow night into Saturday as we hold in the 40s tomorrow night, reach low 50s Saturday, and then falling back into the low 30s. Maybe some snow showers at the end of this north and west of Detroit in the metro, but the steadiest accumulating snow.
And we're at Barn Door Lumber. Just got the wood here from Barn Door Lumber out in Hemlock, Michigan. So we're on our way back. Wood's in the trunk, all wrapped up. Curbside, so contactless pickup. Pretty cool. And now back on that long 1 hour journey. I mean, this place is really, it's only an hour away, but it's just, wow, look at those clouds. It's beautiful out today. So, all right, on our way back. I took the wood out of the car. It looks really good. This is poplar, very clean looking. Look at those beautiful edges, how they did that. So anyway, I'm gonna go put them in the house, let them acclimate to the environment. The shame is today it is like in the 50s outside, but it's been raining all day, so I can't do anything here. So I've kind of converted my kitchen into a workshop today. But what I've done is I've kind of roughly squared up the table so that I can get some longer screws and screw them through the center ends in here, and hopefully then join this together. Now the problem is on this side right here, it is like dead straight against there. But here on this side, when I put a little straight edge on it here, my little level, you can see it's kind of wobbling a little. I think it might actually be a warped piece of wood on this carcass. I can't understand any other reason why, but when you try to join them together, it just doesn't work. So I may be going back to the thing I was going to do before. Tomorrow I will take the wood that I got from the lumber company that's cut, and I will see if it works. And if it does, I'll just put those together, and then I'll probably cut these little corner guys out maybe. And if I can't just directly use that piece right there to hold the legs, and just mount the legs in that way. But I don't know. I didn't measure it for this purpose, so. But I mean, it should still work. The boards all have the same. The two boards on one side have the same dimensions as the two boards on those. They were milled by experts. So when I put them together, and tomorrow, we'll see if they square up. And then we'll go from there. Because then if that's the case, then I don't really need this. I can put furring strips in and the corner pieces, or buy those corner things for that you just use a slot for, and then stick them in there and put my own table legs in. So I don't have to get it, perfect. But anyway, it's a little disappointing today. I was thinking I was going to start to really get somewhere. The other thing is I could use this carcass and then just put shims in on one side, but then that's going to throw off the edges, and it's just a real bad way to start. So, I'm sure there was a way to do this. I could sand down something on that one end, but I don't really want to do that much work on it. The idea was to do this simple. But again, the idea is that, listen, you start into this project, and if you're a guy like me, an average guy who doesn't know what the hell you're doing, it's going to change. It's going to change over time. Maybe I'll say a little bit about the process of building this little documentary here. I am putting these... little scrub there. I'm putting the scenes in. So like this is what I shot today on December 12th, and today is December 12th when I'm shooting this. So I'm putting these in as the project develops. Okay, so the smart thing would be, let's take it all the way back to that part where I said, I'm just gonna build the new the new wood, and I'm not going to use the carcass. But the idea behind this isn't so much informative as much as it is just kind of I don't know, the saga, if you will, of putting this table together in the journey that it represents. Okay, so first of all, it is not easy to get this stuff squared up like I thought it would be. I haven't even checked it for square, but I've got those square things on the corners there, and it'd be nice if I had all four of the same kind instead of the mix and match of what I have. But then what I did is I laid that carcass inside, and obviously there's way more room than it needs. Now, I can think of all kinds of things. I could use like washers in between there and try to square it up and straighten it up, but I just don't think I want to go to all that trouble. So I think what I'm going to do is just hopefully, if the new wood is square, then that'll be, then I can use other things to get the legs in it and all that. But I'm gonna kind of piece that together and see what we got. By the way, I do want to say this because I mentioned the name of the company in here. These cuts, okay, that they made, that Barn Door Lumber made, were exactly on the money of what I asked them to do. So they cut it. The only mistake made was allowing me to do the dimensions. Like I said, the fix is easy. Just take a little bit off of that and a little bit off of that to close up those gaps. But my fear is that when I do that, if I don't cut it perfectly square, then I've screwed it up. So, but there's a part of me that really wants to do this. Although, the fact that I didn't notch out the lumber already is kind of, sometimes the best answer is have a professional who knows what they're doing do it for you. But I'm gonna make a call and see what I can do. Okay, well, another walk, and so what I decided to do is I'm definitely going to have my neighbor cut those down for me because I don't have the expertise to do it. And I spent so much, well, not a lot. I spent $85 on the wood and the milling and the notching of it, so it's not like it was a ton, but it's starting to get up there. That, and then $11 and then $55 for the table. And so I figure I don't want to ruin it. I've got too much into it now. So then after that, what I'll probably do is I'll have them come up with a way for me to attach the table legs as well, and also put some bolstering material in there for me to lay the top in to make sure that it's going to be level. So that's probably what I'm going to ask him to do. And I don't think it'll cost too much money to do. Anyway, one of the things that I am a little bit worried about now is that top that I'm going to have cut down to fit in terms of length. Is it now going to be not wide enough to fit on this? So my measurements say that it should, but my measurements said the legs would fit too. So I don't really know how accurate those of it. But when I get back from this walk here, we will see if that top fits on there. My suspicion is it will. It does have a little bit of clearance there. It'll be enough on either side. It's not as much obviously as it had when it was started, but at least I don't have to get a top. Although I just saw a spider crawling on this top, probably from downstairs. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the top itself. Anyway, so that's one good piece of news. I am also thinking, as I was walking, of maybe trying to do the cut myself, but I don't know. I'll let you know. Against my better judgment, I decided to try and cut this. It needs a 1/2 inch off of each side. Let's see. How does that look? A clean cut. I did it with like a back saw. Just really briefly, what I'm doing is I'm like getting this clamp to the miter box, and getting my kerf lined up so that hopefully it's getting exactly a 1/2 inch. And then as you can see, I'm resting this on a piece like this that's the same width, so that we have kind of a flat surface going through. So it seems to be working. There it is. It's not the worst cut in the world. I just kind of clean that up. That's not bad. Maybe I can do this. So do I look a little disheveled, a little, I don't know. I'll tell you what. I want to take the tools that I have, along with the pretense that I can ever do this kind of crap on my own, and just throw them all out, because it's like, I'm not good at this stuff. This is not my expertise. I know what I want. I can plan it. And I have to start thinking that the good sense in these things is picking the right people to help. I mean, should a person be able to do this? Yeah. And I think, I was kind of glad that I decided to do the cuts, and I think I did them relatively okay, because the table did square up when I put that Harbor Freight little 4-corner thingy on it. But no, it's just not. I'm just really, really disappointed in not being able to do what is really a simple thing. But I'll tell you what, a finished product is maybe not what you should practice on, right? I mean, if I want to build a table, I should spend, a month building corners, notching wood. That's how you do it. You don't do the finished product, and this is one of the things that I've thought. This is it's the same thing, with guitar and, whatever, athletics. We buy all this stuff, and it's like, with these dreams, it's all built on dreams, buying power tools. And, a lot of people can use them, but, a lot of people lose their fingers too, I've got certain things that I have expertise in. I wish I had it in others. And if I spent the time and got mentoring from someone, the way that people who know how to do this do, then that'd be fine. But you can't have one end product in mind, never having done this before. So the cool thing about this is, let's find out how inexpensively we can do it with getting the assistance. And part of do it yourself is knowing when to just say, I can't do it, or I have to step back and practice. Okay? I mean, I don't know. I know I'm going on this rant. This is going to be so long, and I don't know what good it's going to do, but I would really like to get this table done, and I can't wait to review the process of today as I edit this and see what the hell happened. But I'm telling you this, now when I talk to the guy who's going to help me, I also have to show him more mistakes that I made as opposed to just waiting, and that's what the whole thing is. The whole thing is patience. And I envy those people who have patience and can be very meticulous about things. I'm not that person. Not in terms of woodworking or anything that requires a certain amount of manual dexterity. Mine is more in, I can teach a history class really well. I can write something really well. And, I can play guitar fairly halfway decently. So there are things I can do, but there are things I can't do. And this whole process has kind of showed me that, if I really want to do, building, it can't just be once every couple of years when I have an idea for a project. If I want to do building, I have got to put in the time, just like with anything else. You got to put in the time in order to do something that's going to come out as a halfway decent job. Now, having said all that, I'm sure I could cobble this thing together, but I'd like it to be a little bit better. And, I don't know. I mean, my friend may look at the wood now and say, you got to get new wood or something. I maybe destroyed the one piece. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but, we'll see. I want the thing done. When did I start this? November, what was it? We're a few days before Thanksgiving. Now we're into almost the middle of December, and I just, I'd like to have it and start using it as opposed to talking about it. So anyway, well, there's a little movement here in the process. This is the automotive headliner that I ordered. That's going to be the cover material that we play on the insert table. It's a little more slatey than I thought. I ordered it blue, and I was hoping it was going to be kind of a bright blue, but this'll work. Okay, well, the professionally made apron is here, and it looks really good. You can see how those corners were done over there, and there's a few things, but here's one of the things that bothers me. It doesn't. Let's see, what's the best way to show that? When I'm setting it up on here, it doesn't seem 100% square. But what I want to do is I want to put the legs on it, turn it over, and then see what happens. But if it isn't 100% square, then I just, actually it's kind of a. I could have never done these kind of corners, though. They're really cool. So anyway, I'm excited. New Year's, first day of 2021, and we get this here. Okay, so I think what happened here is that this one, which doesn't line up at all, my hope is that one of the reasons why this is racked a little unsquare, is that this got put in after being measured for it upside down. Thankfully, it's not with the square head. Well, actually not, because I've got a Craig thing, so it could even be that. But it's Phillips head screw. So I'm going to take that out, flip it, and hope that this is it. Because the other three legs go on pretty darn good. So, all right. Well, I feel great right now because I noticed that it was upside down, and I put it back. And not only that, but now it doesn't really rack anymore either. So I can see that screw isn't in 100%, but I think I don't know, it might just, I'm going to leave it alone because it's looking square. Putting the last leg on it. We'll see what happens. I feel like what Frankenstein must have felt like. I mean, here we are joining the legs of the donor table to the apron of the newly created gaming table. Well, that seems appropriate for a gaming table. I'm not going to tighten them up too much, just to where I feel them giving tension. And then we're going to flip this over and see if it's alive, aka if it's standing. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but watch me break it. I'm going to just try to do this in real time. Okay. Whoa. Almost there. Almost there. And then it'll probably, yeah, I know it's going to get caught up on that, but that we can. Oh, great. You missed it. Hey, but you know what? Sorry about that, but you know what? It looks really good. It looks really good. It really does. It's going to be big enough and good enough, and it looks square. It looks like it's standing on its own. Check this out. I'm really happy about this. I'm very, very happy with this. Let me go get the top. This is just part of the top, and of course, the top is now going to be cut down probably about 6 to 7 inches on each side. I'm not sure which is I think this is the short side. Wow. Yes. Yes. I mean, all right, well, you're capturing, I have a couple of unboxing videos out there, and I'm very excited with that. But look, and then what we'll do is there'll be a table underneath it, so that when we remove this, hold on. Then as you can see, there's going to be a little, it's just an 1/8 inch piece of wood, and then there's going to be a headliner cover. Now, here's one thing I would love to do. I might ask, but I might do this later. Is it possible to, if we could shave off a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, I would love it. And there's room for it. I can tell that there should be room for at least a 1/4 inch. Because I would have liked it a little bit lower, but this is really nice. You know what, I can tell. I mean, this looks great. This looks comfortable to sit at. It sits off of the ground 30.5 inches. I mean, most tables are 29. So, but is this going to be bad? I'll get a chair and check. But wow, this is cool. It's ready. It's ready. It's ready to roll. We are set. Tomorrow I'll measure up the insert, and then I'll probably screw that up, cutting that up. But you know, I think we can measure for square now too. But you know, so the inside of the table is 32.5 inches, which is fine. That'll be fine. Forget that's the width. Now the length is going to be a little bit longer. Yeah, it's 32.5 inches. This guy is great. The guy is great, and it's about 37.5 long, which is longer than the table we use now. So that's going to be great. Oh yeah. Wait. Hold on a minute. I got this caught in there. So yeah. 37 3/4 on both sides. This thing is great. I'm very happy. This is what you call the most exciting part of the movie. The next most exciting part will be when the tops are cut down, and I can show you the insert table underneath it. I'll probably show you stuff before that, but again, no reason why you can't get a little sneak peek. Yeah, we're going to have to cut off a lot from these. I mean, I think it's going to be more than 6 inches, because hold on, this is one of them, right? And this thing is 27 inches here, so we need it to go about 42. So 42.5 is 21. So if we want this to be 21, oh, no, actually, we're cutting off about 5.5 inches, 5 inches to 5.5 inches off of this. But I think it'll make this lighter then, too. And, you know, maybe one day I'll get a little bit better table than that. But I think for now, let's leave this up here overnight. You know, why not? Have a second table in the room. But this is pretty cool. And how much? It's a little bit taller than the other table to make this a somewhat complete sort of thing. And this is this chair is about an inch shorter. So even if it was, I mean, I'd be playing the game down at this level here, but also I'd be up about this high. So, you know, for dinner, quite frankly, we eat dinner on the run a lot here, so I'm not too worried about the dining height. I am worried about the crokinole height, though, so probably what I will do is when my friend cuts the table, I'll probably have him cut those legs an equal distance off of that by... I'd like to take them down about at least a ½ inch. I'd like it a ½ inch shorter, but maybe, you know, we'll see. That there's room there to play with that. So so you know, if we can get it down 3/4 of an inch, we'll be like perfect height for everything. Although, you know, I don't want to go too low for the gaming side of it either. So wow, so this is kind of. Like I said, this to me is the exciting part. You know, seeing it finish will be great. But okay, so what did I have to do? I have to admit that I couldn't have made it this dead on. Robert did a great job. I couldn't have made it this dead on. No way, not with my skill set. 5 years from now, maybe I'd be able to square up something. Maybe a couple years from now, because I'm really determined to try and learn this stuff. But wouldn't happen. I'm not going to say how much it costs, but let me just say this. I'm worried that I didn't pay him as much, but he seemed okay with what I offered. He didn't even give me a price. Anyway, I'm going on like crazy making this long movie already longer, but payoff time, it's alive! Well, instead of waiting for the right tool, I used this more rough laminate scoring thing. I think it's a riving knife. I don't know what it is. And, you know, probably didn't measure it up exactly because it was a little off, but I trimmed it up with this little sandy thing here. Cut my finger in the process. But anyway, so now as you can see, we have kind of the insert table roughly fit. It obviously needs support. Needs support down in here, but I also kind of have to say I wish it would have been a little lower, but this will work. The good news is it's kind of, this is the purpose. I've been downplaying the insert in a way, but this is really the operative thing of the table, isn't it? I mean, it's having a lower table, a little insert underneath it, so you pull the top off. And this way it keeps the cat off of the pieces and keeps things, you're not going to be able to put anything that's more than a ½ inch high, 3/4 of an inch high in there. So no leaving boxes or anything in there. But we play mostly card and board-based games with no figures. So I think that's going to work. Anyway, sawdust is making me sneeze. Okay. Just, this isn't ready yet, but this is kind of cool that we're actually playing on this table right now. So can't wait till it's done. It'll look way different then. Okay, so this is another test run on the table. So we're actually playing the best game ever made, Dominion. Of course, the table's not anywhere near done, but it's at least working. Okay, so today is such a pivotal day because I've actually, look at this. I've done my first pocket joints with my little Craig tool here. Right in the middle of doing this, my amazing Harbor Freight battery that lasts for years, it lasts forever it seems, went out. So I've got to charge it now. So my very last pocket hole I can't do. Actually, it's not my last one because I'm going to have 2 more slats. But we're starting to get the slats ready. So let me try to explain what I've been doing for like the last at least half hour. If a person has basic skills, they can cut this insert piece here, the insert table, right? They could have cut it to the exact size they needed easily. They would have marked it right. I didn't do that. So the thing that I've had to do now for the last, I don't know, half hours, I'm kind of lifting up the edges here, and I'm leaving 2 factory edges exactly the same, but carving a little bit out as I look down here to see, let me see if I can do it, you know, what gap I have, because it's okay that there's a gap because there's going to be material covered in there, and I can, you know, but I'm trying to get it so that the factory edge will have kind of the same gap that I'm having on this. But anyway, it's, if I knew what I was doing, this wouldn't have been an issue at all. I would have just, you know, but this utility knife from Milwaukee, from Home Depot, seems to be working pretty well. That's not an ad. I'm just happy it's working. So I'll keep at it. It's like carving. It's like I'm a old school work person. An old school work person with no skills. Okay. Let me just say this. You gotta start out a divorced guy like me, if you're gonna have your kitchen like this. Unless because if you're not, you're gonna be a divorced guy like me if you leave your kitchen like this. So, not quite ready to clean up because I have a little bit more work to do, but it's a messy job. But it doesn't have to be, but I'm a messy guy, I guess. Well, this may be the most productive day, and I have to tell you, I'm a big fan of these, you can see I had to do it a couple times on this one here, but I am a big fan of the Craig pocket jig. This is amazing, and oh my gosh, it joins it and makes it really easy. What I did is I kind of clamped underneath these slats to get it at an approximate height that I figured out with my trusty little, they're on the floor, it shouldn't be on the floor, should it? My little combination square, and yeah, so yeah, the slats are in. This is a big deal. Well, I accomplished what I wanted today. There's a little bit off going the long way on the table in terms of level. Across the center, it's perfectly straight. But that's okay. That's okay, because I can use shims underneath it when I, you know, finally get everything done. But this is kind of cool because this is basically what we wanted. Now I got to get the top cut to the right size. The old donor tops, the top from the donor table's got to be cut to the right size. I've got to paint this, and I think I'm going to paint it to match the new Formica that I'm going to be putting in to the kitchen in the spring, because I already know what that is, which is kind of like a pale green. I might just go white. And then the next, if it's supposed to be warm tomorrow, so maybe I'll try to go outside and spray up this this top here and see if we can get it upholstered. But yeah, this is coming together now. So you know, before it's all said and done, I'll take the top off, and you'll be able to see if you want to make a table like this. You'll be able to, you know, do it, and you'll probably do a much better job because hopefully you have more patience than I do. And if you have just a little bit of patience, you have more patience than I do. 42 degrees today on January 13th. So I decided to come out. It's not ideal to do this in 40-degree weather, but I decided to come out and spray the 3M45 brand spray adhesive and get the cloth covering on the table, and I'm letting it air out because the stuff smells a little. It doesn't smell as bad as I thought, but it smells a little, and I don't think I put on enough, and I didn't do it during optimal times. But you know what, it's pretty sticky in the center there, so it's going to be coming up on the ends, but then I'm going to stick it over on the other side when I finish this off, so it should be okay. Well, I kind of skipped the part where what we did is we stuck the underside of the head, the auto headliner, with double stick tape. I used kind of a Scotch brand that's super sticky on one side and sticks enough on the other side. But anyway, so that's how we got that down there, and And then we got the edges cut in. It still needs a little adjustment, and I'm going to be doing that later. And it also needs to be painted, and the tops need to be cut. But other than that, we are almost done. This is it's playable now. We got a nice surface on there, so this is the inner table is in. Like I said, a little adjustment, but this is pretty nice. All right, well, we have put the cover on, and it is very appropriate to have Dominion here, and we're playing Dominion Adventures, and we're about to play, but this is the table with the top. So now, the first time we've ever played with the headliner cover. Looks pretty cool. Okay, this is my second trip out to Barn Door Lumber. Just before I take off, I want to show what I got here real quickly. Let me just, rather than get a top made, we were able to do, look at that right there. We were able to sand off the old finish from that, and look, 5.5 inches cut off at each side. So that's my messy trunk, but anyway, so this is really cool. It was, and it's nice. They did it while I waited. I did have to go in. I hope, I'm so worried about COVID. I hope everything's okay. Ugh. Hold on. I just realized there's gonna be another one of those portrait style videos. Make sure I don't hit anybody on the way out. Anyway, for the whole thing, under 25 bucks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we are in that nice. It is a long ride out here. That's only an hour, but there's nothing on the way out here, really. Except a couple of small towns, but wow. All right, on the road back to Flint. I'm gonna probably do some finishing with the top, but other than that, another hour we'll be back in Flint. Well, I'm back from Barn Door Lumber once again, and wow. I want to bring these inside, so what I did was, whoa! I don't know if it's meant to be. This is the fourth time I've tried to do this, but let me just say, I just got back from Barn Door Lumber. These are the two tops. I've Lysoled them front and back and put them out. I hope it's okay to Lysol newly planed wood, but they did a great job. They did it in like 15 minutes. As I said, only charged me about $25. I think under $25, and that to me is a real bargain because they also cut it down, so these are now going to be the right size to fit on the table. And yeah, so I'm just waiting to let them air out just a little bit before I bring them in the house. But I mean, I just, I kind of Lysoled them the same way I did when I brought the table home at first. I actually fell down on my second attempt to film this little thing here. So yes, Liz, I'm more attentive to this table than I am to the horrible state of my front door and my porch with all this junk on here. That ruler's been here since spring. So anyway, but yeah, really excited. I mean, this almost brings us to the end. All I got to do is paint the apron, and that's actually a pretty easy job, and then finish these tops. I'll probably use been reading about Howard butcher block oil. Okay, well, I got back from Home Depot and bought a very little can, because I don't think I need very much. Plus, this was the only one that was in stock. I actually had to go a little ways out of town to get it. But this is Varathane Ultimate Polyurethane Gloss, and I got a 1.5 inch brush and a drop cloth. I need to get a tack rag though. But what I did on the mostly here on the edges, there's still some finish kind of showing through, but I wanted to get all the yucky stuff off before I do the final. It looks like the yucky stuff is kind of off of that, but now it's more on to finishing. I hate this part because I hate the smells of finish, but I've been told that this Varathane Ultimate Polyurethane is a low odor, so we're gonna try that. Open up the window and see. I did the sanding outside But anyway, that's the next project. Well, as usual, I changed my mind, and what I decided to use instead of the urethane on the other side of these, I put urethane on one, which dries totally clear. So if you ever want something that's going to dry clear, that Varathane is water-based is really good. But I kind of like the darker look to this, so I'm using Howard cutting board oil. And then I'm also going to coat it with the conditioner, which is basically a beeswax and carnauba wax. So I used this little Miles Craft Joint Mate. There's lots of videos out there that show how this works, so I won't bore you with the details of that. But what I did was in these boards, I put and was able to align pretty good. The only thing, oh, watch, look at that. I got a little... That is from, I had the table resting up against the wall, and it was up against actually this little music stand here, and the music stand scraped on it, and so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But again, with it only being about $25 to kind of strip the top through a sander, maybe I'll redo that again one day soon. But having it to do over, I would definitely stain this wood and finish it in a more traditional way. I would use a hard finish. I think it's going to be ultimately, once I get this wax off through just attrition of it being off, I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to finish it with the urethane finish. But anyway, that's okay. I mean, it's always a work in project. But as you can see, I've got the top table split here, but what I did was I was able to put in the dowels, and the wood is not like perfectly, you know, it would have been too expensive to seriously like joint and plane such large wood. So all we did was have it sanded. So any imperfections in the wood weren't going to be fixed by that sanding, other than the imperfections of the finish and the grungy stuff on the front and back of this stuff. But other than that, it was a beautiful static shot here. I really know how to captivate a audience. Anyway, so with this and this little setup here, I was able to put these 1/4 inch dowels in here. So hold on a second, and I'll just show you, like, we can now, like, you know, move the table toward itself, and then I'm going to have to stop here for a second. I'll come back. Okay. So then we just push them in together, and as you can see, it's not perfect because I didn't follow the instructions on this thing well, but I could make a slight little, you know, rasp there and get that lined up again now. And I'd have to do it on the other side. But other than that, I mean, so for what I'm saying here, the only other thing that I want to do is that on the underside of this table, okay, I want to probably have like some rails just running briefly that will snug up to the inside surface of the table frame to help in the positioning of the table, and then maybe on one side have something that's on the underside of this, a little rail that's going to coincide with the inner thing of this end of the table, so that I can, you know, always have the tabletop position. But basically for now, I'm almost going to say that we're in a position where this project is pretty much, except for a little touch-up stuff, and I still have to paint the apron and all that stuff. But for outside of that, I think we're pretty much done. We have a table that is the dining table, and then through the magic of cinematography, we open it up to reveal the inner table underneath. Woo! But, you know, we could do, you know, I could obviously take this off, you know, and I need to find a way to maybe store this more reliably so it doesn't fall down and hurt itself. But for the most part, I think we've got a table. It's a usable table. It's a table that we're using now.
Oh, hey. So I'm sitting at the table now, and it's out of view, actually. I'll show one last shot probably in there. But one of the things that, I don't know, I appreciate you going along with me during this little table DIY project. And if you stayed this long, you know that it went through a lot of changes. And, but as gosh, we're almost about 3 months away from when I drove up with that utility trailer. But to tell you the truth, it seems a lot longer. So one of the good things about it is that I right to on the other side of that wall there, I have in the garage a 10-inch table saw, an old Sears Craftsman contractor grade table saw, which was in pretty good shape, and I've gotten already some extras for it. And a miter saw, excuse me. So, I don't know, maybe I'll try and do something, but, about that whole thing of making corners and making a few things and learning how to do it, because I really would like to know how to do this so that I could make my own table apron one day, and maybe make one that's, to different specs if I ever want to change it up. But anyway, so... appreciate you sticking with it. I know it was long, and keep do your project, and if you can't do it yourself, there are resources in your areas to do it, and just don't feel bad about doing it. Just do it. It's nice to have the project done in the end.
I don't mean to be self-deprecating, and that's the whole thing is, we gotta, I really think anyway, we gotta, be able to say this is in our wheelhouse and this isn't. And ultimately, what do I want? I mean, it would be great if I could build the whole thing, and there's millions of people out there who would have the expertise, but my thing is to get it done so that, we can use it for its purpose as a convertible table, one that we'll use as a dining table, and then one that we'll use as a game table with the insert underneath. So that's the simple thing of it.